Hi, I'm Amy from GeekAmu, and welcome to my very first video tutorial. It's June 25th, 2025, and I'm excited to kick off what will be a growing series of developer-focused tutorials. If you find this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe so you won't miss future content. And I'd really appreciate your feedback in the comments to help me improve with every video. Today I'm going to walk you through a real-world coding challenge I was given during a job interview. A Simon Says console game built in C#. The game flashes a sequence of numbers on the screen, and the player has to repeat them back in the same order. To make it easier, we'll break the project down into bite-sized mini lessons and teach you each building block. Then we'll put all it together with a final version of the game. Let's get started. Before we start the main part of the program, I want to let you know that the format of the program CS file that we're going to be working with in C# has changed significantly with the release of the .NET 6, which introduced the concept of top-level statement. This change is part of the effort to simplify the setup of the new C# applications and to reduce boilerplate code. Here's a quick comparison. As you can see, the before .NET 6 used the main method, and starting .NET 6, we just start putting in commands. This is valid now because the compiler explicitly creates the main method. The program class is not needed unless you're requiring more structure. It allows for cleaner, shorter startup code, especially helpful in small apps, tutorials, and minimal APIs. Mini Lesson 1, Console.WriteLine and String Interpolation. As you can see in this program, the Console.WriteLine prints out hello C# world. We have an input, a variable of name with Amy, and then string interpolation puts in welcome, Amy. Mini Lesson 2, Console.ReadKey. In this mini app, Console.WriteLine prints out press any key to continue. Console.ReadKey will read in the key that I press and then complete the program. Mini Lesson 3, Random. In this app, we use random generator to make a value between 1 and 4. In this case, we rolled a 4. Let's try this a few times. Mini Lesson 4, For and If. Why it's useful. The for loop repeats something a set number of times. The if checks a condition. In this case, whether the number is even using the percent, also known as modulus. Percent gives the remainder, so I%2 equals 0 means no remainder, an even number. Example, we use for to go through the sequence, and if to compare the player's input to the correct answer. Mini Lesson 5, List. We're using a list here to hold our sequence of numbers. That's like an expandable array that can grow as the game continues. Then we add a new number to the list. This simulates adding another step to the memory game each time the player succeeds. The Console.WriteLine statement here uses string interpolation. That's when you insert variable values directly into the string using the $sign and curly braces. It also pulls the last item from the list using count -1. That's because arrays and lists start at an index 0, so the last index is always 1 less than the total number of items. This is really a common pattern you'll see in programming, using the count -1 to get the most recent and last element in the collection. And it's very useful in a game like Simon Says, where we keep adding to lists and sometimes need to check or show the newest number. Mini Lesson 6, Bool and While. We're introducing a boolean variable called keep playing, which is set to true. This will control whether our loop continues running. Then we set up an integer called count to track how many rounds have passed. Next, we use a while loop. This kind of loop keeps running as long as the condition inside the parentheses is true. In our case, as long as keep playing is true. Inside the loop, we write out the round numbers using string interpolation to display count plus 1. That's because the counter starts at 0. But humans tend to count from 1, so we adjust for that. After displaying the round numbers, we increment the count by 1. Then we check if the count is 3 or more, we stop the loop by setting keep playing to false. So this runs exactly 3 times, which is a useful way to practice using a while loop with a break condition. This pattern is helpful in games or menus where you want the player to stay in a loop until some rule is met, like getting 3 strikes or finishing 3 rounds. Mini Lesson 7, Console Clear, Thread.Sleep, and Resetting Colors. Now we're preparing the console visually. We start with Console Clear. This clears anything already on the screen, gives us a clean slate. Next, we set the text color to red using console foreground and the background to black with console background color. This gives our message a dynamic look, perfect for a moment like get ready. Then we use Console.WriteLine to display the message. We immediately follow with the Thread.Sleep 2000, which pauses the program for 2 seconds. This adds suspense and gives the player time to get ready. Finally, we call console reset color to return the colors to normal before continuing the game. Using colors and delays like this help us create a more engaging user experience, even in the simple console app. Mini Lesson 8, char get numeric value. In this mini lesson, we'll learn how to capture a single key press and convert it into a number using char get numeric value. This is especially useful in games or applications where quick numeric input is needed, like in a Simon Says app. This technique allows us to accept key input without requiring the user to hit enter. It's a fast and interactive way to get simple number inputs. However, it's important to know that if the user presses a non-numeric key like A, enter, or space, get numeric value will return -1. Since those characters don't represent numbers, we can use this behavior to treat those as incorrect inputs, which work well in games where mistakes end the round. All right, now I'm running the program. It's asking me to press the number 1 to 9. I'll press 5. You can see it shows you pressed the number 5. This means the key I pressed was correctly converted to a number. Now let's test what happens if I press something that's not a number, like the letter A. See how it returns -1? That's how we know the input wasn't valid. This is a really useful trick for basic validation, especially when you want to make sure the user is pressing only number keys. Mini Lesson 9, Break and Console Key Info. Why it's useful. This listens for a specific key press and exits the loop using break. Example, perfect for menu screens or giving the player a way to quit. Now, the program says press X to exit. This is a simple example of how you can wait for a specific key pressed in a loop. I'll press a random key, let's say capital A. Nothing happens. That's expected because the loop keeps running until we press the X key. Now I'm pressing the X key. Boom! It says exiting, and the loop ends. This is a great way to give users control over when they want to exit a loop or program, especially in interactive console apps. Mini Lesson 10. Generics plus toString plus string join. Here I've created a list of scores with the numbers 10, 20, and 30. Lists are super useful when you want to store multiple values of the same type. In this case, integers. Now, instead of printing each number one by one, I'm using string join. This combines all the items in the list into a single string, separated by commas. So when I run this, it prints out 10, 20, 30. This is a clean way to show a bunch of numbers at once. Great for displaying things like score, results, or any collection of items. This is the final version of our Simon Says app. We start by creating a list called pattern to hold the correct sequence of numbers. The game continues as long as the player keeps entering the right number. That's controlled by the while loop with the playing flag. Each round, we add a random number from 1 to 4 to the pattern using the ran next 1 to 5. Remember, the 5 is exclusive, so the possible values are 1, 2, 3, or 4. Perfect for a simple memory-based game like this. We then clear the screen, show a green message that says watch the pattern, and display each number in a pattern briefly with a delay to simulate the flash. Once we're done, we prompt the input. As the player presses keys, we turn each key into a number with char get number value and compare it with the matching number in the pattern. If you press something wrong, we let them know and end the game. If everything's correct, we tell them they succeeded and move on to a longer pattern. Okay, we watched the pattern. It said 4. Put it in. Correct. Let's get ready to the next round. What's it say? 4? 4. Ah, let's try it. Yay! 4, 4, 3. 4, 4, 3. Yay! 4, 4, 3, 4. 4, 4, 3, 4. They're making this easy. 4, 4, 3, 4, 2. 4, 4, 3, 4, 2. Yay! 4, 4, 3, 4, 2, 2. 4, 4, 3, 4, 4, 2. Up, I lost. And that wraps up our Simon Says Console tutorial. I hope you had fun building this with me and learned a lot along the way. Not just about C#, but about how to break down problems and build them step by step. This was actually a project I was asked to complete for a real job interview, and I wanted to share it with you because it's a great way to practice core programming skills like loops, conditionals, lists, and user input. If this helped you or inspired you, please give my video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more tutorials like this. I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments, especially if there's a topic or concept you want me to cover next. Thanks for watching. I'm Amy from GeekAmu.com, and I'll see you in the next video.